everyone, welcome to the second video in this series from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford, and we are going to be doing the middle bottle today. We're sticking with the Castle Arts Gold pencils. Now I'm just trying to work out how close to come in. I think we'll come in fairly close. We'll be starting with our little building, so well, fairly large building to be honest, but we'll start with that and so we can come in a little bit. Now this one's got bricks as well, and I like to do bricks in brick colour. Now yesterday we did what I thought was a brickish colour. Today we could do grey. Bricks and stones could come in grey as well, so that is a possibility. We could just go completely off piste and do something completely different, but I think I quite like the idea with sticking with a grey. I'm just looking at the options. Yes, we've got a warm grey light, and I think I'm going to start with the warm grey light. We didn't use it in yesterday's video. Give it a sharpen. Now I did do yesterday's video earlier today, but I've now opened the blind because the sun has gone behind a big cloud, so hopefully it helps me to see. Means my eyes don't go all funny, which they do if I've got the blind shut and just the lamp on, or if the sun is coming right in the window. My eyes being quite sensitive to changes in light. This pencil lead's going all wobbly. I did in videos yesterday this was happening to me, and I swore it might have been my pencil sharpener being a bit blunt, and I haven't changed the blade, so it's my fault entirely, but I'm hoping I can just get this to last out while I colour these areas. Sorry, I hope it doesn't send you insane watching it wibble wobble. So yeah, I just had lunch. I feel more energetic, which is good. And my son was struggling to concentrate this morning, but I'm hoping that I did ask him if he was going to have the afternoon off, and he said no, I've got to get on, so he's going to try and get on. I hope that he manages. Now he's had lunch. It was going to happen, wasn't it? At some point I could use my dowel, but I'm going to persevere with this one. No, that's not worked. Okay, I am going to use my dowel. That certainly won't break it. It'll be noisy though. Clouds are looking really pretty outside the window at the moment. The edge of them is quite bright, and then they're very black or grey, which is rather nice. I do like a pretty cloud. Quite hard to draw, but lovely to look at. Right, this top chimney as well. I'm going to do this chimney a bit differently to yesterday's. Yesterday's I just tried to make it look round, and chimney pots around here anyway usually square, so I'm not going to make it darker on the edges. I'm going to sort of emphasize the bricks instead. I'm going to do it a little bit differently, why not? So that was the warm grey light. I'm going to use the warm grey now. Here it is, and I'm going to do, as I say, I'm going to go around the edge of the bricks a little bit just to emphasize the brickwork. You can do this with the lighter grey and it would still show up a little bit, but I think this looks more like it's a tile or a shingle, but I'm just going to do it in the same way. I quite like it matching. I can feel the sun's coming through the cloud. I may have to shut the blind. It's certainly brightening up a bit. There's some sun there. I think we might be okay for a moment. I'll see how it goes. Now these larger ones I'm going to do in the same way, like that, quite a dark outline, and then fade towards the centre, and I just work my way around them, and then we can oh, that's quite bright sunshine. I think we're okay. When I zoom out it might create problems. It's just you can see the shadow of my tripod across the book, but it's not across the bit I'm colouring on. It's quite nice to have the blind open so I can see. It's quite useful to be able to see what you're doing. Right, I'm going to go back up here, I think. You had rather a nice lunch. We weren't particularly chatty. My son was looking at Reddit on his phone. I was having a rest from talking because I'd just made a video, and then he was going to come and do this one. But I was doing a Sudoku. It was really hard. I did a few, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do any more. There we go. Keeps the brain going a little bit, doesn't it? But apparently, demonstrating something and talking on video is quite good for the brain, so I gather. So, I don't know. Right. Got this bit of the chimney to do. I'm just thinking about that. I think I'm going to go back to my warm grey light. Excuse me, I've got a frog from somewhere. There we go. That top one is a little bit pale, so I'm going to use the warm grey. Just put a little bit of colour, maybe just on the edge, just so it doesn't look really pale. There we go. Now I'm thinking maybe roof window frames the same, but I'm not entirely sure. We could go with a blue roof. No, because we're doing blue skies, aren't we? Can do blue sky for all of them? Probably. Red roof. Quite a red. We've used. What about the sepia? Yeah, I'm going to use the sepia for the roof. It's a bit different. Here it is, sepia. Needs sharpening. Dare I use this sharpener? No, it's got bits in it. I can't. Ah, got another sharpener. Here it is. That's better. Okay, so sepia. Now roof. I don't think I'm going to use this for the window frames. I think they look a bit odd. So I'm going to use it more intensively. Is that the right word? At the bottom, more layers. Less layers as we go up towards the top of the roof. Excuse me. And then more down here. And less as we go up. Quite straightforward. Just trying to make that a bit darker so it matches the other side. There we go. And do the same on this little bit. Like that. Now this bit and this bit, I'm thinking are sort of woody bits which might be the same as this structure underneath. I'm going to leave them for a minute and think about those window frames. I'm wondering about a brown. Let's go for a... Where's that walnut brown light? There. Walnut brown light. I'm going to use this. There we go. And it is actually quite dark. It's not that light, but I think it will work. It'll look different to the roof, but work with it, sort of thing. I think I'm making sense. Bit extra on those edges. There we go. This looks like a big factory window, like one of those loft apartments that used to be sort of factories and things like that. I think we're having a few. We have a few of those in our town. More old. Yeah, there's one old factory that's got houses built on it. There's another one that's going to be, so I see in the newspaper this week. And it's good use. It's been sitting there empty for such a long time, and we're so desperate for new houses. I mean, it's a good thing, I think. Cadmium yellow light for the windows. Yeah, having empty buildings just sitting derelict is just such a waste. you know, I know they're what they call brownfield sites, so they're industrial, but I think the council are getting better at just turning them into housing, although there is one that used to be like a car sales sort of garage place, and the planning was turned down because it used to be employ people and it won't if it's housing. And I felt a bit sad because yes, we need jobs, but really people are so desperate for housing. Now there's leaves growing on our houses here. I think I'm going to make them quite dark, like a sort of feature almost. I'm going to use the oxide of chrome. It's quite a browny green. I think it will go with our greys and browns quite well as well. Now with these, they're not massive, but they're not teeny weeny, so I'm going to try to fade them towards the tip. Let's see whether I can succeed or not. My son was telling me this thing that he'd read about. We were talking about graffiti for some reason, and he said it's really, really common for people to put so-and-so was here, you know. Oh, I think it was because someone had said they'd come across a piece of graffiti in Pompeii or something. Anyway, and he said they found what they think is the oldest piece of sort of man-made marks, not maybe, I mean, whether you call them graffiti or not, I don't know. And apparently they're sort of young people's handprints on a sort of edge of a mountain where they dipped their hands in clay and made an impression on the edge of the mountain and sort of made their mark. I think it's quite, I don't know if it's true, you know, they read all these things, you're never quite sure, but I did think it was interesting that, you know, graffiti is such an old thing, and it's a big problem at the moment, generally in the UK and specifically where we live. I'm going to do these leaves in here the same colour. I quite like the idea of it there being some consistency in colour. Yeah, along the canal, on road signs, litter bins, just sides of people's houses, shops. It's just real big problem, and I don't really know. There is an area under the railway arches, there's an area where there's loads of graffiti, and there always has been, and that almost feels like it's unofficially okay to do it there, you know, but on people's houses, you know, and on road signs which people need, and it just feels a bit inconsiderate, shall we say, you know. And I just don't know what's causing this sudden increase. I mean, there are a lot of people reckon the police aren't spending enough time investigating these sorts of crimes. I don't know if that's true, having had no experience of it. I mean, yes, our car, someone tried to break into our car. I did get a call back from the police about it, and they didn't succeed anyway in doing it, so it wasn't like it was a huge deal. I am going to use the sap green for this little bit growing here, and they did call back, and the guy had been on holiday, but there was no evidence, we couldn't find any, didn't have any information, so they just closed the case because what, you know, there was nothing they could do really. So that was that. But I don't think that if they'd sent someone out to have a look, there would have been nothing, it wouldn't have made any difference. But I know there are some other things that have happened that really probably could do with a bit more attention. But I don't know who decides, and I know nothing about it. Right, this looks to me like a wooden fence, but I want it to be different wood to the wood here and here, so I'm going to pick out some different colours. Now our browns are really dark or orangey. We had the same problem yesterday, and I used the earth green. I might try using the green gold for the fence. The only problem with this green gold is it's actually metallic. which fences aren't. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups now. But we'll give it a go. I had some really nice olive oil that I bought in a deli in town, extra virgin olive oil. It was really tasty, and toast dipped in it. And then I had a couple of squares of chocolate. It's what did I have to say? Montezuma's orange and cacao nib chocolate. My sister saying to me, Montezuma's chocolate is so rich, it's so sickly, how can you eat it? And I'm like, well, all 100% chocolate is really rich and sickly if you eat too much of it. You just have to only have a little bit, and then it's fine. It's all the same, because just because it's very rich, because there's nothing else there, you know. It's just the sort of cocoa. Oh, I am yawning. I am sorry. I'm going to use the brown ochre. Let's give that a go. I don't know where it is. I can't see. Where are you, brown ochre? I don't think I've used it already. There seems to be a space. But there it is, next to the space. I can't see for looking, as my mum would say. Brown ochre. Now we're going to do the little shelf. Like that. See, for me this is a little bit red, but it does go with our roof, so I suppose it's got that going for it. I'm a bit worried that I'm going to forget this plant, but I've got other things to do at the top, so let's move down to the bottom. There we go. I haven't got much room. There we go. Yeah, we'll do the bottom bit and then we'll come back up and we can do the little plant and the lid of the bottle and things like that. There is quite a lot still to do up there. So I'm just putting a layer here, and then I'm going to put a darker bit under there to make it look like they're not slightly staggered. There we go. Oh, I've got an itchy eye, sorry. My eye was itching when I was at the hygienist this morning, and I didn't want to wipe it because I didn't want it to look like I was crying or something, because people do get very nervous at the dentist, and I wasn't. As I explained to you yesterday, I had remained very calm and I was very pleased with myself. My hope is that if I can be a more calming force in the house, it might help other people as well, but I'm not sure how influential it is in that sense. But anyway, we'll see. I was watching a TV show yesterday, and called it's Joe and Stacey. They're a famous couple, and he's got ADHD, quite recently diagnosed, and he was talking about various problems. It was quite funny because he's been put on medication. He wants to try it, and but he lost it. He said within a day he'd lost his meds, and I was like, yep, that's so typical ADHD. My husband isn't that bad. He has coping mechanisms. He's older than this guy, I think, but he has coping mechanisms. There's places where he keeps things, like his meds are always kept on the breakfast bar, so he takes them at breakfast time. So I'm just stretching my legs a little bit. So I'm going to use the terracotta light to do this plant here and this plant here. I feel I just don't want everything green, so I'm going to use this. So yes, he keeps them on the breakfast bar, and every morning I'm up first always, and I make a drink for whoever's about to be up. I always make him one because he always warms it up in the microwave anyway, and then for the others that aren't up, I put their cup at their place to remind them to have a drink, because none of them remember. And when I put his drink sort of forward on his place, I put his pills forward at the big front of the breakfast bar so he remembers to take them, and then I tend to ask him if he's remembered them, didn't do that this morning. I left before him because I had the dentist, so I haven't. So I'm hoping he's taken them, but I'm not. I can't be 100% sure. I'm going to use the chrome green now. We didn't use it yesterday, so I figure that I want to use it today. I'm going to use it on this little creeper. It's on both sides. It's going to be done in the same colour on both. Yes, I do the same. My son's a little bit better at remembering his. He also puts his on the breakfast bar ready for the morning, and then when he takes them he moves them to the table because he has to take his in the evening as well. Yes, and the husband has a little place by the bed, so when he empties his pockets of his pass for work and his keys and his wallet and his phone, not so much as I'm thinking that might be that colour, but I'll do that in a minute. He put it all in a specific container so he always knows where it is. So in the morning when he gets up and he always remembers to do a pocket check before he leaves for work anyway, so he knows where it is. His shoes though, he's actually decided on a place to put them at last, but he still doesn't always remember to put them away. But I'm forever falling over them. They're just left all over the place. And stuff generally left in different places all over the place. It can get really messy. I would really like him to have a good tidy up this weekend, but I have to gauge whether he's in the mood for that or not. I'm going back, as I said, to the terracotta light to do these little bits here, which I think just look a bit like this. So we'll do them the same. But for someone like me who loves a really clean and tidy house, it can get quite frustrating. But I try to stay calm. And also I do a lot of just general tidying up. I'm trying to decide on the colour. I think I'm going for permanent green, something nice and bright. And there it is. Yeah, so I do a lot of tidying up myself and after people, and then in certain parts I can't like tidy his art stuff up or his bedside table or anything like that because that's his stuff, and he'd get really cross if I sort of fiddled with it. But like the kitchen, the salt's left out, the pepper's left out, there's a dirty knife on the side, blah blah blah, all that stuff, I can tidy all that up. So what's great is the kitchen has the potential of being perfectly tidy because I have the ability of tidying everything. Unfortunately the bedroom and the sitting room not so much, because there has to be, because it's not all my stuff. I'm sure other people have exactly the same thing going on. And there are solutions like, well, let's just have our own room for our own stuff, but then it means we might not see each other. So if we're in our own room with our own stuff type thing, we don't necessarily have the room to be able to do that anyway. But at the moment in my hallway there are 3 storage boxes. Why are they there? I'm not entirely sure. 2 of them have got stuff in and they're too heavy to lift, and one of them I was using and it's empty, and I've given it back to him and it's just sitting there in the hallway, so I don't know what that's all about. Little plant, I think we'll do like a terracotta-y pot. The terracotta's quite bright, but I think that will work okay because I think it'll work. Yeah, so I'm going to try and make it a bit more intense side, top, bottom, a bit lighter in the middle. And our little plant want a different colour, green. I'm going to go for the cadmium. I just like it. It's a good reason as any, isn't it? Now my next step is to do the blue sky. And we're going to do it like yesterday, so I'm just going to do a different colour, but just flat colouring. And I'm probably going to come out so that I don't forget to zoom out. There we go. Now, so this is more of a daytime picture. I think we can go with a lighter blue. And we have a primary blue, or cerulean blue middle. I'm going to go for the primary blue. I think that will work. If I can find it. Where are you? There. That's it. Yeah. primary blue. And as I say, like yesterday, I'm just going to fill it all in. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do when I get to the lid, but we'll see when I get there. And I might just start with the Posca pen today on the background, and on, you know, once I get to that point, and see if it works for us. But we'll see. We're not there, anywhere near there yet. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the sun. I've got a few other jobs to do today, and I'm wondering whether to pop to the shop or do the ironing. I've probably got time to do both, but I've already been out today. I need to see if my son needs help, I guess. So I'll probably do some editing and then see what happens with the time. Because I'm thinking he's so near finishing his assignment that he might be at a point where I can help him just get it done. But I'm not sure, because he wants me to proofread it, which is absolutely fair enough. But we'll see. Things always take him longer than he thinks they're going to, and longer than I think they're going to as well. But he really could do with finishing it today, so that he can crack on with his next one. Because he's got to go back to uni next week, and then he'll have less time. It's got to be done fairly soon. And I'd like him to get it done earlier so that he can have a bit of a long holiday. But we'll have to see, because he starts work on the 16th of June. So his last essay is due on the 20th of May. Doesn't give him that long off, really, not compared to normal uni holidays, but actually he'll get one after. So he might finish work quite early. I was trying to work it out, how many hours he needs to do and that sort of thing. But he will have a write-up to do about his work, so it'll take him some time. And I don't know when that has to be handed in. And it would be good for him to start doing some work on his dissertation. But that's what I do, but you know, I'm not a procrastinator. But anyway, we'll see what happens. It'll be quite odd having one at work and one at uni. So one will be hanging around a lot more than the other. The one at work won't be leaving too early though, because he starts at 9. I think it's about a 40-minute walk maybe. He might want to leave an hour, but he won't. Certainly he'll be leaving at 8 rather than 7:20, which is the time he has to leave if he's going to uni first thing. So he gets a little bit extra time to just do his own thing, which is nice, or not get up so early, or just not rush out the door, which is always nice. And he should be home before 6. I think part of the amount of time it takes him to get there will be how long it takes him to cross the road. He's got to cross a really busy road. But we'll see. It might be easier than we think. I think it depends. You can't really go halfway and wait. You have to just go. And I think it depends whether cars are likely to stop or notice him even. In the winter it's going to be dark when he's doing it too, which will be difficult. But anyway, we'll see what happens. It's going to be new for all of us. My other son will be doing his final year. He doesn't have a dissertation to write, but he's got exams. We don't call them finals because he's doing like little modules, and they all count towards his final mark, I think. So, and he has to do partly assignment, partly exam. But he's doing quite well so far, I think, which is good. he's supposed to be learning to drive over the summer. I did tell him to start looking at driving schools, but he hasn't done. I guess I'll have to do that. Maybe that's something I should do this afternoon. So he needs to get booked in quickly before they run out of slots for the summer. Because a lot of the 17-year-olds will be might be doing it once they finish their A-levels, which will be about the same time that he'll be wanting to do it. And I'm seeing in the news that they're going to be releasing new driving tests or something, because driving test is quite hard to book on a driving test. I'm going to come in a bit closer for this bit so you can see what I'm doing, because there was just colouring, but here I'm trying to work out what to do in here, but I think I will just do the same blue. Doesn't really make much sense, this bit, does it? It's just a little bit of Johanna's imagination. So I'm just going to make it the same colour. Now for these bits, I'm going to fade them towards the middle. That's not working very well. Let's try it this way. This will work better. And then the same for this one. Like that. Now this top one has a pattern on. I'm going to make these the same colour as these, but I haven't decided what colour. So I'm going to colour this bit first. Like that. I'm thinking maybe I should do a colour I've used already on this particular item, but I'm not sure. I really want to do them like silvery, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the graphite, which is actually a metallic coloured pencil, and for these I'm just going to block them in. But for these I'm going to try and fade them a little bit towards the middle. I feel like they look like they're little metal bits, teeth. I don't know why I think that. I'm just going to check before I get out my white pen that none of the colours I've used interfere with whiteness, only the pink, purpley pinks. Okay, I'm going to try my Posca again. Oh, do you want to be able to see what I'm doing? I'm wondering whether to do it similar to yesterday's or not. Yeah, I'll start here. Now the pen slides quite a lot on this pencil. I think it's to do with the amount of oil or wax or whatever in the pencil. Okay, oh, I'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah, we'll line them up with the ones from yesterday. Because maybe if they're all in a row, they'd all be catching the light in the same place. They're going to have the same problem as yesterday, where when you try and put it on top, it doesn't like it very much, but I'm just going to scribble. I think also the pen gets a bit clogged up with pencil, because when I just scribbled the pen then on some scrap paper, the scribbles were blue, where the nib is a bit clogged with blue pencil. It's okay. squeaky noise outside, like some brakes. There we go. I'm going to leave that there. I don't want to risk spoiling it. Okay, so that is today's finished. We've got one more to go tomorrow. Oh, it's so cute. Tomorrow is just lovely. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.